Sup, nerd.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of SupCast. Here with me, Adam, also known as Tuna. This is a very special SupCast episode because this is something that I've been wanting to do since we started. And I finally found a fellow comic nerd. And joining us today is our very special guest, Ewan Lim, at The Real Ewan Lim, and he's a video producer. Like, you know, he shoots, he edits, he directs, and he's also, most importantly, a comic nerd. So welcome to the show, Ewan. How are you?
Thanks. I'm fine. How are you?
It's not too bad. I mean, it's 2020 times 2, so you know we're breathing. I think that's good enough for most of us here. And the reason we're here is because recently we just saw the debut trailer for the upcoming Disney Plus / Marvel series, Moon Knight. And it's been interesting from what we've been seeing online, the reactions to the trailer. Like, majority of people just went like, who the hell is Moon Knight? Even for us, like, you know, comic nerds, I don't want to be like that snobbish, oh, I knew him before. To be honest, I've heard of him before, but only like not recently, a couple of years back when Warren Ellis, was that a couple of years? It's like 2011 or 2013. When Warren Ellis did the run on Moon Knight, that's when I picked up the book and, you know, started getting to know the character. But before we get into the books that we're going to talk about, Ewan, what was your reaction and how did you find the first trailer?
The very first trailer and the latest trailer, I was really stoked about it. Because
there was a second trailer?
It's just extended cut. Yeah, it's
okay.
It's freaking awesome. Because we actually get to see Moon Knight in costume. And
right.
There's a part where he's beating up some guy in the toilet or something.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, and it's a jackal.
Yeah, so
I'm
jackal,
just I'm just gonna see how that turns out.
It's building up to be sort of like a horror infused psychological thriller, which is such a cool thing that, you know, I think we were talking about with the other nerds for the Disney series, Disney Plus Marvel series. They've been doing like different kind of genre films, like, you know, like genre series where it's not just straight up superhero stuff. You know, WandaVision was sort of like a weird mix of, you know, nostalgia tinge, like supernatural type of stuff. And then you have stuff like Winter Soldier, where it's straight up action kind of a series. And recently we got Hawkeye, which is sort of like a buddy, even like a comedy, you know, fun action comedy series. So I'm excited about Moon Knight because it's psychological thriller, and, you know, the actor as well, Oscar Isaac. Hopefully Moon Knight's gonna be for him like the Marvel Redemption, which is like quite common. I mean, if you look back at people like Chris Evans, he was, you know, from Fantastic Four to like Captain America, and who else do we have? Well, Deadpool is from like Green Lantern and Deadpool, so that's different.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Oscar Isaac, he was Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse, which the lesser said about that film, the better, I guess. It was sort of like, I don't know, the thing with X-Men movies and the third installments. Oscar Isaac, I'm excited. He's a great actor. He was, you know, he did like sci-fi films, and like overall, he's such a great actor. So we're excited about it. What do you think about the villain?
The villain, it's hard to say. Who is the real villain? That's my main question.
Well,
is it going to be Khonshu?
Ethan Hawke.
It could be Ethan Hawke, but is he really? Because the character he's playing is kind of very deep cuts. He doesn't really appear in a lot of comics. Yeah. So he might be a somewhat good guy. Because in Hawkeye, we actually had the swordsman, who's kind of a sometimes bad guy, sometimes good guy. But in the end, he just turns out to be a guy who really likes swords. Yeah. It's like, now's my time. And just
that's a deep cut as well, right?
Yeah.
How did you find Hawkeye? In a short way, because we'll probably do something like a full podcast with Vic as well, our main main leader of the nerd gang, because she loved Hawkeye. How did you find it though?
I felt that is very I wouldn't say very, but it's quite faithful to the Mad Fraction run when he inherited the whole building and stuff. I was slightly
Right.
disappointed that they did not introduce Hawkeye's brother, but I mean we got Pizza Dog and Pizza Dog survived, so I'm good. I'm cool. Aside from that, I really love the chemistry between the better Hawkeye and Hawkeye. Yeah.
Wait, so which one's the better Hawkeye? Is that a mystery?
Mm, I mean, we all know it's going to be the girl, so yeah.
Well, for me, to be honest, right, maybe I put a lot of like expectations for the Hawkeye series because I really loved the II and like Fraction run for Hawkeye. Those all those 22, I think it was like 22 issues and then a special. I freaking love it, man. So I think my expectations were way too high. How innovative and like quirky and just funny that run was. I don't think they managed to pull it off with the series. It's for me, it was sort
Mm.
of like it was funny. It was kind of like quippy and a little bit witty, but overall, it's still like quite how would you say like entangled with the whole MCU overarching like universe, and this didn't have that. Even though I freaking love Hawkeye as well, it didn't have that special I don't know, something that made the comic run like really special.
Yeah, because the
So
comic run was the storytelling method was pretty good. They even had one issue where there's no
yes.
words. I was actually hoping for episode
Or
just like
even a
that, but
scene, right?
yeah,
Or
but
or even just a
yeah,
scene of like the pizza dog going around.
yeah, but I mean they didn't have it. But I also thought that I mean it's the best they can do to just make the whole thing more fitting towards the whole overarching Marvel MCU Phase 4. Yes.
MCU.
Yeah.
It's technically yeah. Phase 4 now is like mostly consisting of series and some movies. So
Mm.
so because of that, um, Moon Knight, I am keeping my expectations kind of like controlled. I would say,
Mm.
even though the trailer looked good, apart from everybody's talking about it like Oscar Isaac's like weird British accent, which is weird as well. I don't know why, because in the comics, Mark and his like uh, even for Steven as well, his many like alter egos or personalities. I can't remember him being British. And he's just like
Mm.
Oscar's doing a weird, Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins type of like horrible British accent. It's like a caricature of it. Everybody's talking about it. I'm like, we'll see,
Well,
we'll
maybe
see. But
just one of his characters.
yeah, but
Yeah, might
in
be.
the comics, right? The character is Steven, the
Yeah.
rich guy, supposed to be, because he had like different personalities, right? First one is Mark Spector, who was like a mercenary, and that's a main guy that we know. And then we have Steven something, who was the rich Wall Street guy who managed to fund all of like Moon Knight's like
Mm.
gadgets and costumes. And you have the other dude who's
That
the
low.
cab driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was like on the ground, like trying to get like intel and stuff.
Mm.
And they were all based in New York, so they're like American dudes. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll probably do like a full subcast, and I would like you to come back for that episode as well once Moon Knight is all done. And you were talking about like how many episodes?
Six is going to be 6 episodes,
Interesting.
which I find quite interesting because we have Warren Ellis. He has a 6 issue run, which after it was taken over by this other
Ryan Wood,
writer.
and
Yeah.
then I think it was Colin Bunn for the third
Mm.
arc. So they did like 3 arcs for that particular Moon Knight run, and then they have now they started again with Jeff Lemire doing like a 3 arc run as well, which I haven't got around to reading it. But
Mm.
so I mean, it's a good segue. I have the book here. This is the book that we want to talk about today, which is Moon Knight from the Dead by Warren Ellis and
Mm.
what's the artist's name? Like Declan Shelby. It's it came out in I think it was 2014, 6 issues. Big fan of Warren Ellis. So are you a fan of Warren Ellis as well?
I wouldn't say a big fan, but I like his works. Yeah, because his works although most of them can be quite different, these have certain themes. Like either mind transfer, a bit of what you call that,
I mean, he's
transhumanist.
very big on
You know,
futurism as well. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
trans.
transhumanism, all
Yeah, so
that. Yeah.
you can actually see that in Iron Man when they had the extremist armor. So I found that pretty
Yeah, he
cool.
was the
Yeah,
one, right? He was the
he's
one
the
who
one.
did
He's absolutely
extremists.
the one. And some mystical stuff, like in I'll say Hellblazer, because Hellblazer was more like personal, which is the same for all of his stories. Most of his stories are all
Mm.
very personal, very close to the heart as well.
He writes from the heart, it feels like, right? All his
Mm.
like stuff. Where somebody like Mark Miller, he does blockbuster stuff and like great for movies, but it just feels that Ellis actually put his heart and soul into his
Yeah.
work. I'm actually I'm not sure if you guys know, those listening, like, if you don't follow the comic, like, uh, the industry in much, Alice got canceled about 2 years ago
Mm.
with the Me Too movement. I'm I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it, because he was being a dick about it, and manipulating women and like sleeping
Mm.
around, that kind of a thing. So, but even before that, even after that as well, I still love his work. He's, I think, arguably my favorite comic book like writer. Um, I initially got into the whole comic thing with Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman was my gateway drug, and then I started like reading up other authors. I go by authors. A lot. Some people might go by artists, but for me, it's like it's on the author. So, of course, the classics like Alan Moore, Grant Morrison. Read a bit. He's a little too out there for me. I like some of his stuff, like more subdued stuff. Um, Mark Miller, Garth Ennis, and, the legends. Mike Carey as well. But Alice is the one that stuck with me, and I read his like novels as well, and his Crooked Little Thing, the
Mm.
first novel. I think that's one of my favorite books of all time. He did Gun Machine.
Yeah,
The
Gun
latest one
Machine.
was Normal.
Gun Machine won some
He's
awards,
a
right?
great writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did. And he also got into, film like scripting. And of course, his Red movies with Bruce Willis, they changed a lot. But I
Mm.
think he was a producer, executive producer. And most recently, Castlevania on
Yes.
Netflix. Not sure if you've seen it. Did you
Yeah,
watch all
yeah,
the
I
seasons?
really liked it. It's but okay. I first got interested in it because of the producer, who was actually a who's more known as a director, the Ada something. What's his
Ah,
name? No, Adi Shanar. I think that's his name. Yeah, so he actually
okay.
directed this. You can see it on YouTube. It's a hardcore Power Rangers film, and if you
Oh,
watch
okay.
Judge
Yeah, I remember that.
Dredd, that was an excellent film with a very nice soundtrack. I think
Wait, he was the director of Dread.
I wouldn't say directed, but he kind of pushed for the movie itself, Dredd.
Ah, okay.
I can't remember if he's the
Gotcha.
director or not, but yeah, it's a really good film.
Ah, I
Yeah.
see. Okay, that's interesting, because I didn't know. For me, it's like straight away like Castlevania. Okay, not that big of a fan of the series, the game series, but
Mm.
it's like Warren Ellis. He's writing every single episode. Sold.
Yeah.
And from the first episode, his like self-deprecating humor and like that crass but like witty way of like the way he writes dialogue. Perfect, man. I loved it.
Mm.
I loved the series. The way it ended as well. I was like almost perfect, man. I have no like big like complaints about the whole series. So, so yeah, Ellis. Yeah, sorry, I was like fanboying. The moment I hear like Warren Ellis, we want to talk about this particular Moon Knight like collection. It's because it's a 6 issue run by Warren Ellis and Declan Shelby, and they're not connected. They're not like connected stories. They're just about like, I think for those who are not familiar with Moon Knight, like when I picked this up when in like 2014, um, it's a good introduction to get to know the psyche behind the character. And Alice is very good at like writing these kind of like standalone issues, like how he did for John Constantine and during his like
Mm.
Hellblazer run, especially that collection called Setting Sun, where each
Um.
issue is just like a single story. It's really good. And for this one, he actually uses his like usual stuff where, you know, cool cool action scenes, but with the dialogue like kind of
Mm.
quippy. I really love this like particular line that Warren Ellis like keeps going back to for Moon Knight because there's a scene where one of the cops was like, dude, Moon
Oh,
Knight's costume is like all white, right?
the first
And
issue
like,
and
dude,
I
that's
think
not
that's
very
last
stealthy,
issue.
right?
Yeah,
I know in the first issue as well. In
yeah.
the first issue as well, it was
It's like
mentioned, and the
so
last
they'll
issue they
see
mentioned
me.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he actually wants the bad guys to see him
Mm.
coming because he's immortal, right? Like, I mean, we won't do the whole bio of Moon Knight, but basically he's a resurrected um, mercenary who actually died in front of this ancient Egyptian god statue. That statue gave him like eternal life, brought him back to life, and then because of that, he has to kind of in a way serve. The name of the deity is Khonshu.
Mm.
You saw a glimpse in the trailer, right? In the Disney Plus series trailer. It's it's like a mummified, but like with a bird head, giant kind of a
Yeah.
deity. Kind of creepy. Kind of creepy. Alice does like six cool stories. I'll tell you the names of the stories. Not no spoilers here. Slasher, Sniper, Box, Sleep, Scarlet, and Spectre.
Mm.
All six of them amazing. Do you have a favorite one? Like I know you
Okay.
just like reread it like
When you
recently as
told
well, like
me
me.
like to list down, it's quite hard. Okay. Wait, let me go back to my list.
You don't have to list like all of them. Like pick a favorite one.
Okay, my
For me,
favorite
I
one would
got one.
actually be the slasher, followed
Oh, the
by
first one.
probably Sleep or Scarlet. Scarlet
Mm.
and Sleep is like kind of fighting for second place, and then Sniper, because Sniper is like kind of what might or could have been, because spoilers, the bad guy is a ex mercenary, and then we got Box, which is kind of, if you read, if you really look into it, it's really about a very sad gang member who was waiting for his other gang members to, and he just shot them.
I
Yeah,
like
but
Box
yeah,
was like the third issue, right? And it
yeah,
was, I mean, the first two one are very real, like Slasher and Sniper. Even though it has
mm,
a bit of like that transhumanism thing that he likes to do, like being a cyborg.
yeah,
But when we get to Box, it's straight up first couple of pages like ghosts
yeah,
punching people and like hitting me. I was like, what is this? But that's why I love like Alice's work. He just makes it like cool for these kind of things. And I mean, the art is great as well. Shelby did
mm.
a wonderful job, especially for uh, Scarlet, because that
Oh,
one is
I
like
love Scarlet.
it's right.
Yeah,
It's inspired by like the
Raid.
movie The Raid, or
Yes.
even Dread as well, right? Where it's like
Mm,
a tall building, you got to
yeah,
go up. Each floor with like filled with baddies. It's just so cool. And as somebody who wasn't like a big fan or wasn't even that familiar with Moon Knight, this collection just made me a fan. I was looking for like these action figures as well, but they never released action figure of Moon Knight with in his like white suit, which is Mr. Knight
yeah,
persona. So cool, man. So cool.
yeah.
Ah
If you're new to Moon Knight, you have to read this series, because especially the first issue is good in reintroduction into who Moon Knight is. Although there's a lot of
yeah.
dialogue, but still it's pretty good.
Yeah, so the,
Yeah,
the storyline basically is like Moon Knight was just like he was gone for a while because his base was New York, right? And now he's back. And instead of like having, I think previously he had like people working with him, like a love interest and like another sidekick kind of a guy. But now he's alone, and it's pretty brutal. And I don't know overall, right? It's just so cool. I don't have a better like more eloquent word. It's just like Alice made Moon Knight really cool. This character that I've never heard of. So this is why we're talking about this particular collection, because if you're one of those who probably the majority where you don't know who Moon Knight is, like what is happening with this new Disney Plus series, go read this book. You'll get to know him better and you'll see like how cool this character really is.
yeah, which is quite true.
If you have to, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have this like fun scoring like system here. If you have to score this book, because this is what we usually do. We would like review the entire movie or series, and then we'll try to give it like score out of 10 kind of a thing. How much would you score this like particular trade paperback collection?
Hmm, it's quite hard. 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's your favorite Alice like book of all time?
It's hard because I mean I kind of like Hellblazer Haunted, but
Ooh, yes.
yeah,
I love that
I
as
kind of
well.
really like Haunted actually.
It's
It's
a really good like I think it was a
yeah,
6 issue arc as well, right?
yeah, another 6 issue up.
Got heart, man. That that
Yeah,
that
okay.
that that arc
Be-
got heart.
he has a lot of other stuff. I mean, like you got the I think Authority, I guess. Oh,
Yes,
Planetary,
I love
Planetary.
Authority.
I really like
Planetary
Planetary.
and
Yeah.
Authority. From
Mm,
Planetary is yeah. Um it's different from Authority. I prefer Authority even though it's stamped out from the Wildstorm kind of like characters.
mm.
But Midnighter and Apollo, Jenny
Yeah.
Sparks. Yeah, I love that.
It depends on
If
my
you
mood.
have to score Haunted, like out of 10, how would you score it?
8.
8.
I have to give it an 8.
You very.
I can be quite brutal sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, you're not generous with your
Yeah,
scoring.
no, because I
I
mean
was
like
gonna say like
I it's quite rare for me to even say like a 10.
10 is like yeah. Was like well I did give like Mickey Mouse 10 from last week. Like
Mm.
the Mickey Mouse Disney Plus series. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch. It's called The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse. I give it a 10. But yeah, for the book, I would say for Moon Knight, I would give it about 8. But it's really something that you guys should check out. Like one of the before the series starts, like this is the the essential read. I would say I'm going to show you. The graphics are like the art style, everything. I was gonna say graphics. It's really freaking cool, man. Like
Mm.
stuff like this. You guys should really check it out. Haunted would be 9 for me, but this one, yeah, I would give it like 8.
Mm.
Expectations again for the series compared to this. I mean, I know it's 6 episodes. We have 6 issues. This is how
Mm.
conspiracy theories start, but it's not gonna be like that, right? It's just gonna be like because
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's character is not even in the 6 issue one. So expectations. What do you
My
what do you think it'll be?
I hope that they will take the whole like I wouldn't say the whole Moon Knight run, but more or less Warren Ellis stuff and maybe the Brian guy as well. Hopefully
Brian
they'll
Woods
be able
one?
to do a scene where it's like the raid. They're saving a kid for one episode. Then we'll have another Daredevil hallway scene where it's like one shot take as well.
Daredevil. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like that. So, but again, you guys, if you don't know Moon Knight, even though he's indestructible and he got some supernatural powers, what he does is basically just beat the hell out of like the bad guys
Beats
with his like
slash.
he has like a little baton thing, like that stick, and he got these I don't know what are those like the batarangs, but like the moonerangs.
Moonrags.
The moonerangs. Yeah, he throws that. It's bloody as well. This comic, this particular
Mm.
run by Ellis. So I don't know, man. I don't think the series could ever reach like this level, but hopefully they can do something more interesting with the
Yeah.
character.
I do
I
hope that it's
I
gonna be
I
hyper
don't
violent.
I don't
No,
think
because you
so.
have
It's
Moon
Disney
Knight with
Plus,
his
Marvel.
Moonerangs, hopefully he slash starts throwing stuff.
It won't be bloody.
Mm,
It won't be bloody because it's like, still
yeah.
Disney Plus and Marvel. It's not even like Deadpool kind of a thing. It's not R rated. So yeah. When is it coming out again?
30th March, I think.
Series
Mm.
30th March. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Still a
Still a
way to
long
go.
way to go.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we're at the end of like Jan already, right? So
Yeah.
2 more months.
More
2 more months,
trailers, more
ladies and
speculation.
gentlemen.
That'll be good.
And you have time to
Yes.
find this book and read it. I'm not sure if the library has it, but I think they do have the second and third arc because I've seen Brian Wood's one and the other one, the
Mm.
Cullen one. I'm not sure about the Ellis run. If you can find it, I think you can still get it at Keto or like any of those like online bookstores. Find it, guys, and watch it. And any other like leaving thoughts for Moon Knight or people who are trying to get into Moon Knight, Ewan? Anything you want to leave them
Leaving
with?
thoughts, I say get Warren Ellis run. It's very good
Of course.
introduction. Even if it's just the first issue, but it's best to get the whole trade paperback. 3 of them, not just one.
It is Marvel, right? You can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be heartbroken again by like Hawkeye, but we'll see. We'll see.
Expect nothing.
But it's Warren Ellis.
Expect everything.
Yeah. This episode is not just about the series or like our speculation. It's about the book. So please go out and read this. We're not sponsored by Marvel or Moon Knight or even Warren Ellis. I wish Warren Ellis was sponsoring me. But he was like, dude, just talk about my book. No, it's all out of love. Like, it's really good stuff. You might find his like behavior like this is like icky or whatever, but his work, if you can't enjoy his work, please go read. Enjoy. All right. Thanks again, Ewan, for joining us here. First time you're on SupCast. Hopefully we can get you back on for more, comic books and like graphic novels. I found a fellow comic nerd here. Yay. All right. Thanks again, guys, for listening. I'm Adam. Tune up for SupCast. Take care. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Sup, nerd.